Hey, Jim here. Welcome back to another episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. And one of the things I want to talk about today is the number of opportunities, the sheer number of opportunities that are out there in front of us. As especially internet-based entrepreneurs, it seems like new business ideas are hitting us in the face multiple times, daily in some cases. So after you've thought through these ideas and prayerfully considered them maybe and mulled over the facts a little bit, well, how do you decide which ones you should pursue and which ones you should abandon? I want to spend a little bit of time today going through a great list of questions that I think you'll find pretty helpful. So stick with me on this episode. It's not a long one. I think you're really going to like it. Let's jump right into today's content. Let me know what you think. I've got a list of questions that I'm going to go through with you. And these are questions that you should ask yourself before you get into a new business venture. Now, there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer to these questions, but they will help you to be in the proper state of mind to make a really good decision. One of the great things about the day and age we live in is also one of the negatives, and that is we are bombarded with what seems like good ideas and opportunities, especially those of us who are online entrepreneurs. I don't know if you're like me, but I find myself oftentimes either having trouble going to sleep or waking up in the middle of the night or even waking up in the morning with more ideas than I can ever possibly implement. And then I spend my day pushing back those distractions of good ideas that keep me from doing the work that I know I need to do, being focused on what I know needs to happen. Does that sound familiar? If that sounds familiar at all, I think you're going to really like today's brief show. Now, I won't spend a whole lot of time on this topic, but we need to know the difference between good ideas and right ideas. Those of us who are successful online entrepreneurs, even at any level at all, we've had some success distinguishing the difference between good ideas, which can be poisonous and detrimental, and right ideas, which represent huge opportunities to move your life and your business forward. We've talked about this concept on previous episodes, and I actually write a good section of the Silent Sales Machine book, a few pages, goes deep onto this topic of good ideas versus right ideas. So if you want to study that, the Silent Sales Machine book, the book that launched this podcast, is only $5 on Amazon. Jump over there, see the hundreds of 5-star reviews, grab a copy of it for yourself. But let's get back to our questions. So I've got a handful of questions today. These are questions you can ask yourself. It involves doing a little bit of homework. But before you jump into any new income stream or business opportunity or buy a course or entertain someone who invites you to say, hey, let's go to lunch. I want to run some ideas past you. Before you spend too much time going deep in any new direction, here are the questions you can and should ask yourself, in my opinion, to avoid wasting time and going down a road that you just have to turn around and come all the way back from. So let's go through the list. Question number 1. Is this a good fit for your current budget, your current schedule, your current talents, your experiences, and your connections? What I mean by this question is, are you positioned well financially? Do you have the time? Can you carve out the time? What's the opportunity cost here? What are you giving up in order to pursue this new idea? And if that list of costs is too big, don't do it. It's not the right time. Maybe later will be a better time. Do you have the talents and the experience and the connections? See, far too often I see people jump from an area where they're competent and they're having some success into an area where they are completely incompetent, but they're excited because they saw some exciting success stories. So they completely abandon what they know and what they've built and their connections and the relationships that they have established. And they jump in this completely new arena where they basically become the next sucker for the hot opportunity. In chapter 5 of the Silent Sales Machine book, we go into this is version 9. Now in later versions after version 9, we may move our sucker list to a different chapter. But right now it's in chapter 5, which by the way is one of the free chapters that you can grab at silentsalesmachine.com. But that suckers list goes into a lot of the areas where we see people jump from an area of familiarity. Maybe they've got a career or they're having a little bit of success doing some interesting things online, or maybe they just decide one day, I want to make some money online. Odds are, if you just jump blind into one of these business making opportunities, you're going to end up somewhere on that sucker list. And I'm not going to go through the sucker list right now, but you'd be very wise to make sure as you're going through this list of questions that the business opportunity you're not jumping into appears right there in that sucker list. And there's some things that would surprise you on that sucker list. But the reason I put together that list was because after helping thousands of people launch businesses online, we started noticing a pattern. They came to us oftentimes, almost always, with stories, very sad stories, where they had failed miserably. They'd listened to some really bad advice, and it kept falling into the same few categories of business opportunities that they had attempted. So grab those 2 free chapters of The Silent Sales Machine. Chapter 5 goes through the sucker list. I think you'll really enjoy that, and it will save you a lot of heartache. So our first question, is it a good fit? Are you positioned well? Next, number 2, we've hit on this one a little bit in the past as well, but this should be on your list of questions. Will you be creatively serving others if you pursue this model? Is it something you'll be proud to associate with? Will you be building relationships that you are excited about? Is this something that surrounds you with people that you can relate to and be encouraged by?